Hey everybody, I know it's been a little while. Actually, it's been probably about 2 months since I've been able to do a video. Got a lot of different stuff going on between work and just trying to get stuff done around here. We'll just jump right into it. First, you can see, not the best mix ever. This was kind of an emergency situation about 5 a.m. this morning. Girlfriend woke up. One of my 75s ended up springing a leak sometime during the night, dumped about a third of its volume by the time we noticed it. This is the only tank that I had that the lines I wouldn't, was fairly sure the lines I wouldn't shred the current occupants, and the current occupants wouldn't hurt the lines eye. This is my main pair. This is the pair that bred for me the first time. I did have a spawn from them about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Not a big spawn, it was probably about half the size of their original, but ended up losing them. They just fungused over. I'm not sure if they ended up eating them or if they just ended up making it to wigglers and just died off from there. The eggs just slowly disappeared, and finally I just didn't see anything else. Mom and Dad just stopped protecting the pot they were sitting in. As you can see in the background, we got 4 white labs. This is the remainder of a group that I had prior. I've already sold off half of them. Just kind of narrowing them back down. I bought this group as kind of an impulse, and I'm just going to stick with the smaller grow outs that I have. I kind of like them a little bit more. But I'm probably going to go through and vent these guys and try to get an idea of what I have. I might keep a trio out of these if I happen to have the right ratio. If it happens to be a male and 3 females, I'll probably keep that. Or I might just end up selling it off as such and just make the extra space. Moving on over here, I got some, see in here, I got a few Nanoletus that I won from a local club meeting playing Fishy Bingo. And also mixed into here, I got some Parachromis Lonzelli that a buddy of mine had picked up at Ohio Cyclic Extravaganza this last weekend. He ended up splitting the group up half and half. He kept half at his house. He wants me to grow half. Having a little bit of a competition between them just to see who can grow them the fastest. Also just to kind of help the odds of getting a successful pair out of them. Get them to size so we can actually figure out males and females. Also, a pickup that I got from the extravaganza are these 3 albino blue-eyed bristlenose plecos, just to add to my small bristlenose fleet that I got going. Another one you can see is I got another long fin brown bristlenose here, another one over here. I believe I got 3 of the brown long fins and also the 3 albino regular fins. Between the 6 of them, I think I got a pretty good genetic mix. I'm going to try to keep them as a breeding group, and we'll see what comes of it as I get a little bit older. Maybe I'll get some fry off of them, and between the different mix-up between the blue eye and the albino and regular fin and the regular brown long fins, got a little bit of everything that the regular bristlenose can offer, and we'll see what some of the fry come out like. Moving up to here, these are the My Devil fry from my big male and creamsicle female. It's been a couple months since you guys have seen these. Definitely growing fast. I got a few in here that, like this one right here, I could very easily pull a couple bags worth of fish out of this group that would be sellable size. I'm gonna sit on them for a while and just let them continue to grow. Like this girlfriend and a couple of friends have called dibs on a couple of these, so I'm gonna grow them out and kind of see what comes of this group. I'm curious on the back genetics of the parents, so curious to see what pops out of this group. But this is almost all of the fry. There's probably about 10 or so left with the parents that I haven't been able to catch out of there yet, but we'll get them out eventually. Right now I think it's keeping the parents from spawning, which is okay with me because I have all these and I don't really need any more than what I already have. But also mixed in here, if I can find any, I got there's actually 9 lemon drop bristlenose plecos in here that I will see if I can find any. Actually, if we can avoid the glare, there's a couple of them back in there. The camera will focus on them. I got 3 long fins and 6 regular fin lemon drops in here. Just another bunch of bristlenose that I'm planning on growing out and possibly breeding in the future. As you can see, between the plecos and the fry going after food, you've seen pictures of this tank when I first set it up. All these plants here were all through the pots. Now they've been knocking them loose, and the pods have mainly been holding them down, but nothing I can do. And the floating's kind of breaking it up, so there's some cover for some of the smaller guys. You can see there's some pretty small fry still, so doesn't hurt my feelings any. Doesn't bother me how it looks. I kind of like the floating plant look anyway, but gives the tank a little bit of a different look. Moving up top, these are my Depi grow outs. I got 6 of them in here that I picked up. They're growing pretty steadily. Here soon I'm hoping to get them moved up to a 40 gallon, just give them a little bit of extra room. This is probably one of the bigger ones. There is one bigger in here, but tends to hide under the pot. And this is, I believe, my male albino longfin out of the pair that I picked up a couple months ago. Kind of see the largest one poking out there, a little shy. And you can see the female hiding back in there. Maybe we can coax these Depi out a little bit with a little bit of food. And that does the trick. These guys are just tearing up the small cichlid and my tropical mix that I've been feeding everything still. Anything small has been getting this blend. Been doing really well. And this one, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's already got some of the red freckling that the Depi get. I'm really excited with these. There's only one other guy locally that picks them up when I brought these in. So it's not something you see around all the time. But I'm pleased with how fast they're growing already. I'm going to have to, as soon as spring comes around, I'm definitely going to have to pick up some bigger pots so I can fill out the rest of my grow out tanks. Because as you can see, these and the My Devil tank are the only ones that have these smaller 2-inch pots. I want to grab another big stack to fill out that bottom tank that's got the nanos and the Loenzelii in it, because these will be my initial fry tanks, and then the 40 longs that the Lion's Eye and the White Labs are in. We'll get a slightly larger pot. I'll probably jump up to about a 4-inch in there. And then my 75s, if they have pairs in them, I'll probably stock them with pots in ratio to the pairs that are in it. Or I might just jump up to a few 6-inch pots, a couple 4-inchers. I did grab a couple of big clay pipes while I was down in Ohio for the extravaganza. I might modify those a little bit to make them fit. You can see that female coming out a little bit to flashing that finish around a little. Get some veggie krill down in there for them. Pluckers seem to really like the veggie. You can see that female got some real nice long fins. That I haven't really been tearing at them, so I'm pleased about that. Move on to the last tank on this side. Got my buddy's male motor that I'm holding on to. I got another tank in the living room right now that just got set up. I'm going to be playing musical tanks here soon and give some of these some more room to spread out. As you can see, I got another tank down here that I just got a reseal in. This one let go on me about a month and a half or two ago, and just finally now getting it cleaned out and get it resealed. Figured since I was resealing the 75 today, I might as well get this one done too. A little bit harder because I didn't want to pull the trim off this rack to actually pull the tank out, just because I have to pull the nightstand out of the way to get to the screws on that trim. But hopefully by the end of the weekend this tank will be water tested and hopefully running again. But and we'll jump over to the other side of the room and on to the My Devils. My big male, still ornery as ever. If anything, with this female in here, he's actually probably a little subdued because he gets too wound up. She'll actually keep him in line. He's still a pain to get pictures or videos of because of how white he is. The lights that I run are 10K lights, so it puts out a pretty true white color and really glows off of him. So it's hard to really get a good look at his color. He's actually got an orange seam that runs down the base of his dorsal. I mean, same with her. Her colors are a lot darker than what these videos and pictures really make her look. If I get the angle right, how orange she is pops a little bit better, but as you can see, his nuchal hump's kind of pumping back up. He's ready to go. Both their tubes have been down for a while, but I believe the little brats over here have kind of been a crimp on that, of where I don't know if they're not comfortable spawning with them in the tank or if they're just waiting for a weather front to come through. But as you can see, I don't know if you can see that, if she'll turn, but her tube is definitely down. He's too forward on. You can see his is down, but the pot's definitely cleaned out. Kind of hard for you guys to see. My glass is pretty dirty from water changes and just them splashing water everywhere. I haven't got around to, wipe the glass down. This video is a little bit of impromptu. It's been a while since I've got an update up, so figured I'd do one real quick for you guys. My K1 and double sponge is still running great. Running this on a few tanks still, and still doing really well. And we'll drop down here to Neo, still being a pig. And there's girl Trinity down here. Still haven't got a spawn from these guys, but until I get them moved out into the 6 foot, I'm not expecting too much. I'd like to try to get them without this divider in the way, but he's still a little rambunctious, a little hard on her still. So we'll give that a little bit of time for him to get resituated once they're out there. Show you guys how much of a pig he still is. It's like feeding carp. She gets that way sometimes too, but she's nowhere near as aggressive of a top feeder as he is. In this tank, he's a lot darker than he was out in the living room. It's a different set of lights. Same here, 10K lights. Out there, he was under a couple of T12s. One was a little yellowish, so it brought more yellows up. In here, he's more of a dark bluish green. Still see the yellow in his face, but I mean, same black tank, same gravel, but the lighting definitely makes a big difference. Still see his fins are nice and flowing. Still got that missing flower on this side, but not too worried about it. He's got his 3 and his 1 little dot on this side, so I'm definitely happy with it still. In here, he at least matches her coloration a lot more. Still on the lookout for another small female, just in case I do need to switch to a open divider like I have with the My Devils. Right now, their body size, she's just as tall as bodied as he is, and just as thick, so it, if not just a touch thicker. So it's hard for me to do a divider and be able to keep her safe without him being able to pass right through. You can see with both these guys, that glowing red eye. There's such a stark contrast to the deep greens and blues that these guys get. Moving on. It's kind of a hodgepodge tank right now. It was mainly my Chancho grow out tank. As you can see, they're definitely hungry. Also in here I have a gold stripe convict. He was just a pickup at a local shop that he just kind of caught my eye with the long fins and that goldish hue to his stripes. This one was just another local pickup with the reddish color in the fins. He had a little bit of a better nuchal hump going when I got him, but he's definitely not the boss in this tank, so kind of shrunk down. This one I just randomly picked up. Probably end up being a dither fish for another pair. Picked it up at the auction for a couple of bucks. And then main stars in this tank are the Chanchos. I got 5 of them left. Not a clue where the other 2 went. I don't know if they got shredded by the rest of the pack or if they ended up jumping. I can see 3 sides of the tank. The only side they could have gone off is the back, and there's only a small gap back there, so I don't know if they got shredded and eaten by the rest of them, which wouldn't completely surprise me because I'm actually missing my small pink female convict out of this tank also. She disappeared about a week and a half ago, and no signs of a body, no nothing. She had actually spawned with this guy. I didn't see any wigglers from it, and about a week and a half later she disappeared, so I don't know if he picked her off or what happened, but as you can see, he's still very protective of this side, which is where they end up spawning at. Then see this colorful little girl back here is female Moda that I posted up the other day that I'm holding on for my buddy. Gonna be paired off with that male that you've seen earlier. Trying to get his fish room back up and running. Should be back within the next month and a half or so, hopefully. We're shooting before Christmas, but probably first of the year at the latest. Only a few more major things to go, and then the rest is a little nitpicking stuff. So, shouldn't be too long before these guys will be reunited over at his house. But this thing, she's just absolutely on fire. Her tube's kind of dropping a little bit. I don't know if she's thinking about, if she's just so wound up in this tank with all the other aggressive fish, or if she's actually thinking about trying to pair off. She goes, you can see her lips a little tore up. She likes going back and forth with this guy. They locked and just kept flaring back and forth with each other, would gain and lose ground. Back and forth across the tank for about 10 minutes earlier. I was just watching them. Definitely very entertaining tank. There's always movement. There's always something going on. Someone's got some kind of bickering with someone else. While we're at it, This is another tank full of pigs. You gotta feed these guys the Southern Delight Veggie Krill just because it's the fastest sinking of all the Southern Delight, and if I feed anything else to this tank, all of them are so quick to hit the surface. If they have to keep coming back to the surface, they'll always keep throwing water everywhere. I couldn't keep water spots off this tank. You can see the few up along here that most of these are all from them, not even from water changes. With this one being right next to the bed, I try to be a little careful with the water changes. Most of this is from a couple of times of me forgetting and feeding them either power feed or some of the other pellets, and they always come up and they hit them too hard and water's constantly going everywhere. But this is another one that'll be moving out into the living room. I'm going to take the Chanchos, get them back out into their own tank, hopefully give them a little more room. Whether I might just leave the Chanchos in this tank and pull everything else out, or if I give them a 6-footer to roam a little more space and get some more size on them, hopefully get them paired off more quickly. But there's a lot of moving going around. I still got more tanks to get set up. But hopefully it won't be too long. Down here, you can see the other 75 that lines I were in. 5 a.m. this morning, found out the tank had dropped to about there, and you can see I just dropped my pump right in it and started pumping all the water out to try to get it as low as possible. Still don't know where the leak was coming from, but at that point it doesn't really matter. I had to get drained, and I got to completely redo the whole seals in it anyway. So I got another 75 that I ended up sealing up, that I had sitting in the living room waiting, that had let go a few months back. I just figured I'll seal that one, that way I can just pull this tank, throw the other one in, reset it, and I don't have to worry about getting this tank dried out and reset. It'll just be a little bit quicker. This will probably end up waiting until either Saturday or Sunday for me to do, just to have the time to properly do it, and the motivation between work and all the other projects I got going. But we got one more stop out in the living room, and I'll show you the rest of the collection. Okay, we're going to continue on out here now. As you can tell, a little bit louder out here between the bubblers, and I don't know how I forgot about this, but new central air system. It's up, running. Feeds the entire house off of that one pump. It's an AP100. Runs all the way back here, back to my bedroom. It's probably about 80-foot straight shot, and probably total system length right now is probably about 125 feet between the up and then down the length of the house and the halo that's running into the bedroom. It's actually going to get extended soon, where it's going to run along this side to this wall, and we'll feed this wall over here once I get the other racks up. This is the secondary lion's eye pair. It's a little bit smaller. These guys haven't spawned yet, but I'm thinking they're kind of close. Female is definitely a little more ready to go than the male is. She's been colored up for a few days now. Her tube's starting to drop. He's not quite with the game plan yet. I'm not expecting too much out of these guys off their first batch. I'm going to kind of give them the same benefit of the doubt as the first pair. Just kind of see how it goes and hope for the best, but not trying to count on it before it actually happens. And hopefully they do a good job. Their siblings did pretty well. So hopefully a little bit smaller tank, maybe it'll be a little bit better of a turnout. not too much going on with these guys. Over here, you guys might have seen a couple pictures of these. Just got back from OCA with these also. They're a friend of mine, Blair. These ended up, he made a connection for me after I've been trying to buy his pair from him for about 1.5 years now. Found another guy that was selling some. His Amphilophus flavius. There's a male here, probably about 8.5, maybe 9 inches total from nose to the end of the tail. Little female over here. You can see her lips are a little beat up from her going after the divider. They've been going back and forth. And she's probably about 5 total length. Nothing too special yet, but I'm going to give them a little bit more time, and then once I get the tank a little more set up, I might even put them into a slightly smaller tank for now, drop them into a 75 and tighten up their surroundings a little bit and see how it goes with them. And up top, let's flip this light up and over. This is my male Midas that most of you have seen. Once he notices that we're out here, his personality will pop out a little bit more. He's probably a little thrown off by the whole light under the tank, but he's still a pretty chunky boy. He's in here completely by himself. Nothing else in here. But his tube's been down for a couple of weeks now. Oh, there he goes. A little bit of flaring. He's a big boy. I picked him up solely out of just curiosity. Picked him up originally as a My Devil. Ended up doing a little bit of backtracking through the previous owner. Found out he came from Raps sometime last year. Killed his female. But great personality. I bought him solely because right in the shop I was 6-7 feet away, and he's in one of those little shop biosystems, got like the dozen or so compartments in it, and instantly I come around the corner and he's just beating on the glass. So instantly I had to take him home. Couldn't be happier with him. He's a fat little pig, and he got some great colors, great finish. He had a little nick in his tail, but that's filling in nicely. His coloration's really nice. He's a monster. He's constantly angry. If we're out here, he's flaring at the glass. Doesn't really bang yet, but I'm not too worried about him hitting the glass like my Devil does. Don't need him hurting his face too bad. You can see his finish is awesome when he gets going and starts strutting around. Right now, he's got a 100-gallon completely to himself, just running back and forth. I think I might move him into the bedroom, give him the 75s to himself. Probably swap him and the Chancho tank around. I don't know if I'm going to find him a female, or I might just keep him solo. I got a couple different ideas I might go with. We'll see. I'm not in too much of a hurry. Right now I'm just going to enjoy him. I got enough other projects going that I'm not too concerned about just trying to start another one. We'll put him back into his shadows. Here, a little Comensus peacock bass. Still kind of small. Haven't really been trying to power feed him a whole lot. Still trying to get him settled over onto something besides feeders. I mean, he doesn't look too thin. All I've been feeding the tanks he's been in have been pellets. and he must be picking something up because he's not losing weight. And I haven't offered him feeders in probably about 2 months, so he might just be picking them off it while I'm not watching. No big deal. He's not thin, so I'm not going to concern myself with it. But eventually he'll get moved over to my 150-gallon Predator tank that I'm working on. Right now he's sharing the tank with a little common pleco that I picked up. Mostly by accident. He was stuck in a styro with an Oscar I bought for my girlfriend at an auction. She had seen the Oscar, I ended up bidding on it, never even looked in the styro. And someone had slipped this guy in with him, and I didn't even know about him until I opened the box. And also in here, this is the main occupant, is my wild-caught Syngustus, true Texas cichlid. Got the female in a hospital tank. She's got a little bit of a bacterial infection going on her side. Getting that healed up before I reintroduce them. Like I said, I got all sorts of tanks that are going to get bounced around and reorganized. Hopefully a couple more set up. Probably give them something a little bit bigger. They might be okay in this 50 breeder, but I'd prefer to get them in something bigger. I might try him out in here with a divider, and she's smaller than he is, so I might be able to get away with an open divider. Purling on him is awesome. I love this guy. You guys can see the blues and that are showing in him. Then, last but not least in the collection, if we pop up top, something I'm fairly excited about, and now the name that I go by of Lone Wolf is a little more appropriate. Another acquisition from OCA is a rainbow wolf fish that I picked up from Ted Judy. He got in on his big Peruvian order, if any of you guys have paid attention to that. Thing's fairly dark with him in there. Hoping maybe I can get him into a little more light and a little bit of food. A little piece of silver side. There he is. Definitely not the best tank for him. He's pretty dark. Tank's all black like most of my tanks are. See him just to the right of the top edge. Hoping he'll catch a whiff of the silver side in here. Definitely going to redo this tank. I'm probably going to move him down to where the Texas is. Just make it so I can view him a little bit better. But I'm going to go through, do a nice planted tank for him. He'll be definitely a solo fish. I don't need to risk him tearing a chunk out of anything. especially if I don't want him to. See him poking up his head up above the filter there. Makes it a little hard. I can't move the food around in here for him, but he'll eventually find it. Got screen tops over the covering the entire top of this tank. I was warned by Ted that these guys do like to jump. I actually had one. This is one of the two that I was holding while I was at the Extravaganza, and the other one that I was holding for Blair that ended up carpet surfing a little bit. See his tail there. There's actually one little My Devil Fry still left in here. Drop a couple in here just to kind of pique his interest a little bit and try to get him moving and active. Obviously he hasn't caught it. I don't know if it's just the little fry's too quick for him or what happened, but one little guy's still in here. Just one of the small ones I plucked out of that tank. Girlfriend wasn't exactly thrilled with it, but that's how life goes. Definitely behind on the growth scale of all the others, so I decided to pull a couple, and if it helps him, I'm okay with that. Sorry about that, guys. I guess he's not gonna cooperate too much. He's still a little skittish. It hasn't even been in the tank a week yet, so he might not even be hungry. I'm not quite sure how often to feed him. He ended up eating a full silver side to himself about 2 days ago, which that in itself is amazing because the silver side's as long as he is. But hopefully in a future video I'll be able to get a little bit better video of him eating, and maybe out a little bit more once he's in a better tank so that it can show him off a little bit more. As you guys can see, this is, pardon the mess, but like I said, it's all work in progress. It's a big rack system on the side of my living room. I still got another 6-foot tank to go on the bottom down there where you can see a enclosure. The side over there underneath the lines eye where the air pump is going to get closed off. Got space for another 50 breeder up there. Got space for another one down there. Just got to get the tanks, get the equipment to run them. But main project right now is, can't really see it, but I got a 150 gallon here that got partially filled with some filters running in it just to start seasoning water while I get the plumbing situated on it. 150 gallon tank. It got end drilled. It's actually going to be the divider wall between my living room and dining room. I still got to finish skinning it, and still a little odds and ends I got to do with that stand still, but it'll be nice when it's done and give some of the fish some more room to run. Finish out a view of this big guy here. Alright, have a good night. I'll catch you guys later.